is an architect's drawing of what the complex, to be called the Newcastle Speed Soccer Centre, will look like. Work is about to start on this ultra-modern facility designed to cater for a variety of indoor sports as well as soccer. It's to be built on this site in Pendlebury Road, Cardiff, alongside the Cardiff Workers Club. Australian Speed Soccer Proprietary Limited, a wholly owned Newcastle company, is behind the project, with its directors well-known local identities in Ken Kaiser, Keith Harris, Ray Trevelyan and Dr Paul Trevelyan. The building will have floor space of 18,000 square metres, with the playing area 50 metres by 30 metres. Tiered individual seating will cater for 600 spectators. Spokesman for the directors, well-known soccer identity Ken Kaiser, is confident the complex will prove extremely popular.
I believe that the indoor soccer is by far the most spectacular and the fastest of the soccer concepts. And after we came back from America last year from our tour with Newcastle United, some other people and myself got together and we decided this is the way soccer would eventually go in Australia.
Well, in some areas of the complex itself, you certainly aren't sparing any expense. I believe the surface is the best in the world.
Yes, the surface that we're going to use is the same that they used in the Los Angeles Olympics, where our hockey people played on. And we decided if we were going to do this, we would put down the best carpet available.
Ken, you went to America 12 months ago. You saw how indoor soccer was booming there. Do you think the same thing can happen in Newcastle?
I think indoor soccer in Newcastle and Australia will boom, mainly because of the intensity of the game and the amount of goals that's scored each match. And spectators who like excitement will come along to a game, as they do in basketball and ice hockey, when most of the players are around the goal area.
It was all smiles last night in the Newcastle Inquiry in the Christmas Carol. The guests received $1,500 all night in the fun. When the city choir was formed 30 years ago, the city paid for everything. And while those days are gone, the budget announcement is nevertheless a welcome Christmas present. For the last year, the choir has kept things going entirely for its own fundraising. Meanwhile, the Newcastle Conservatorium of Music Scholarship has been reinstated after several years' absence from the budget.
It would be a matter of concern for us if we felt that the fees were such as to put them.
Principal Mr. Michael Dudman.
It will mean that perhaps another half dozen or 10 people, probably young Novocastrians, will be able to attend the Conservatorium for music lessons.
Has it been difficult for young people to attend the Conservatorium for lessons? Are the costs going up?
Well, yes, they are, and like everything else, the Conservatorium fees do escalate, and it would certainly be a matter of concern for us if we felt that the fees were such as to put them beyond the reach of most people.
By last night, the hunted ground services had returned to something new normal before Waratah Gold was sold for a younger hunter at about 7 cents. Below the limit of 1,400 tons, the fish is for the right today. Tourism overhead also is cold. This will go somewhere to the market, still waiting on the court. Cold is the source of the largest property in the country. $5 million is the current target. The direct cost is starting in between $5 million, with the indirect cost much higher. Tomorrow there will be yet another stoppage, so that train drivers can hear the result of the arbitration commission's hearing. Weekend cargo should be moving through the port today, but yesterday the Australian Foreman Stevedores Association slapped a 48-hour stop work order on all Australian ports. It's another blow to the wheat industry, which has been seriously undermined by the train strike.
Gleason's Gym, for 40 years the spawning ground for names like Rocky Marciano, Joe Louis, Jake LaMotta, and many lesser names long since forgotten. They compete in a sport which AMA President Dr. Joseph Boyle says results in both acute and long-term brain injury. The AMA's change in direction from advocating a safer sport to banning it is not welcome here.
You got to remember that these people like to fight. So it's better for them to fight with other people who enjoy that than to pick on people in the streets.
Why do you risk brain damage by fighting?
Well, I feel if I do things right, I won't get no brain damage, and if I go things, as long as they're going, within a couple of years I'll be able to retire.
My trainer always taught me learn defense, block punches, slip punches, get hit less as possible.
But they do hit you, and they do get through.
Well, see, that's the point. I get hit less as possible.
We found that 87% of the professional boxers who were examined had clear-cut evidence of chronic brain injury.
Brain scans and other tests on boxers indicated abnormalities in nearly all of them.
These also were good fighters, and some of them were champions. So being champions or being good fighters did not protect them from this chronic effect of long-term brain injury.
To gaze in amazement at the ship's massive proportions.
The 2-day strike has been called over the length of time taken to negotiate new contracts for the stevedores. An arbitration commission hearing yesterday failed to resolve the matter. Although their dispute does not affect coal loading in Newcastle, the rail stoppage tomorrow means that no fresh supplies of coal will come into the port for loading. 100,000 tonnes of coal per day are needed to provide adequate stockpiles. However, the Maritime Services Board says 3 ships are currently loading, of which 2 will finish and sail tomorrow. They say there are sufficient supplies to finish those 2 and carry through the 24 hours of the stoppage with supplies coming in by road. 24 ships are currently waiting at anchor to be loaded. The shipping of grain will be the hardest hit, with no exemption from the port strike by Torres on top of the 24-hour rail stoppage. Manager of the Newcastle says there's one ship in the port which they had hoped to start loading the grain today, but it will now not be loaded until after Christmas. Mr. Hobbins says they only have small parcels of different grain stockpiles, but nearly enough for a pilot. Unreliable and there'll be no coal trains. After dominating the recent Australian Tour title, Newcastle Circuit will also make the Australian which will represent the world circuit will go next year. At the Australian title, local circuit
The left over that way is best.
All 3 now turn on to improve their chances of making good impressions, if and when they join the big money pro circuit. Sainsbury's says here was yesterday selected with other local circuit Simon Law as a member of the Australian Amateur team to surf it out with the world's best in drill and mud. Youngster Nick Wood leads on Saturday week for a 3-week developmental trip in Hawaii. Luke Egan, on the other hand, has no immediate overseas plans. His sight is set on the Australian Pro-Am Junior competition at Sydney's North Maritime Beach in January. Newcastle area circuit has dominated the juniors in today's Australian competition almost 5 years, and many believe it's just a matter of time before that flows over to the kingdom. When Newcastle Rosebuds United rose from the ashes of the Newcastle United side early this year, few would even have dreamt that it could go on to win the National Soccer Cup. Not only did Rosebuds do that in fighting style, but its youth squad won the National Youth Cup. This basket, none remember the Torres, just as it had to the old United. At a board dinner of the Aboriginal Club last night, a $30,000 sponsorship of the national side was announced. This got the lucky name that it comes from United, but the Adamstown First Division Reserve and under-18 will now share some administration.
3 games in a week. Well, Mark, we were quite impressed with the performance of the team last year. We felt that Newcastle Rosebuds were in a few problems financially, and to save National League in Newcastle, the board of the Adamstown Rosebud Licence Club has made the decision to make a guarantee of $30,000.
You've also rationalised the administrative structure of the teams. What's that going to mean for the running of the soccer teams?
Well, it'll make the job a lot easier for the willing workers that we have with virtually 5 teams and running in 2 different directions. We're hoping to rationalise that, bring it under the one roof, and then make it a lot easier for the people that are organised and with the club. Just before her death in 1969, she completed the book which told the history of families settling on the banks of the Lower Hunter between 1830 and 1860. Her 3 children first had the book published in 1973.
Well, after the first edition had been sold in a short time, we were driven mad by people who really wanted the book again, and so we decided to go ahead and reprint the book. We would make it much better than the first edition. We gave it a hardcover. We've put very nice photographs into it, and we think it's a much nicer book.
Much of the demand for the book has come from academic circles, even though Cecily Mitchell had intended it for general readers. However, the book is considered a vital piece of research.
Well, one of the reasons is that we haven't got a good academic history of the hunter. If ever we get one, we'll have less particular interest in this book. But at the moment, this book is a store of information about the Hunter Valley, its early pioneers, the people who started it in all the different towns and in the farming industries, which is not available anywhere else.
Over the 2 nights, the arsonists' attacks have progressively become more severe. On Wednesday night, it was 2 trucks, damage bill around $30,000. Last night, it was a motel room, a Salvation Army hall and a car, damage bill around $40,000. Concern now is that the arsonists' next attacks may lead to someone being injured. First target last night was a room in the Cumberland Motor Inn. It's believed the arsonist entered through a small window beside the door and then ignited an incendiary device under one of the room's beds. The room and contents, valued at around $20,000, were destroyed. But the motel owners were more distressed because the room is specially fitted out to handicapped people. They say with quadriplegics and paraplegics regularly staying there, last night's blaze could have been a tragedy. The next target was the Salvation Army hall, situated less than 200 metres along Cumberland Road from the motor inn. Insurance assessors were estimating the damage today in the burnt-out shell that remains. Again, an incendiary device was used to start the fire. Police believe the fires are the work of one person or group, with all fires occurring within a 3-block area.
Confusion reigned from the moment the roundabout was opened to traffic yesterday for the first time. The roundabout is at the intersection of Nelson Bay Road on the right and the newly constructed Salamander Way. From the Newcastle approach, a large sign tells the driver he is entering Salamander, the multi-million-dollar town being developed for Port Stephens Shire Council, which is in fact more than 4 kilometres away. There are no signs to direct the driver to Nelson's Bay, and in confusion this person drove to the right of the traffic island towards oncoming cars. Drivers from Nelson Bay were equally confused, and we saw 6 cars travel in the wrong direction in a half-hour period. Most frightening of all is that if you go the right way into the roundabout, you encounter this, a tight off-camber corner with loose gravel. An unfamiliar and slippery intersection combined with a large number of Christmas holiday traffic could result.
So as we can see, we've been here 10 minutes, and in that time we've seen...
There aren't any signs that indicate you come to Port Stephens.
As I'm talking to you now, there was a car...
Says the roundabout and the sign are monsters, installed by the council to divert drivers to the Salamander residential land, which goes on sale for the first time on Saturday.
The whole roundabout was put in to direct the people to go towards the Salamander estate and away from Nelson Bay. But I do hasten to say that the main issue we're saying at the moment is not that, is that the safety angle, that people will drive into the roundabout reading the sign and then being confronted with this very unusual roundabout.
So you think there's going to be major accidents over the Christmas break?
We have had 3 prior to the opening today of the roundabout, and I do believe there will be more, yeah.
Several passing motorists shouted to at their anchor at the new roundabout. One man stopped for happy day.
Jesus, mate, I tell you, I could have easily had an accident here. I've been driving up this road for ages, but, you know, this is terrible. If somebody dies as a result of this, then they can just discount all the land in there to pay for the cost of it, you know? One person's life isn't worth all that.
Councillor Jobling says it's part of the SCC's responsibility to aid the community where possible, and he believes that the council's 1985 budget will do just that. The council decided to increase domestic tariffs by 4.93% instead of the 5.2% government ceiling. The pensioner rebates are to be increased from $11 to $12. Industrial consumers can look forward to a 0.5% cut, and there are to be no changes for commercial users. President of the Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Peter Evans, says this will help to create employment.
We've found that the big users of electricity have been, their budget's been affected to quite a degree by electricity charges, and by keeping the charges at the same level they can plan forward and they know precisely where they're going for the year ahead. And I think it's a very good sign.
At Lake Macquarie City Council, the Aldermen decided to adopt the budget estimate for 1985, but the rates will not be determined until January the 3rd. The Town Clerk, Mr Harold Cumming, worked on an 8% increase in rates, which is the limit set by the government. According to the Deputy Town Clerk, Mr John Rankin, the budget will have a $61,000 deficit, but he's confident that that will be made up over the coming year. Mr Rankin says the budget has no dramatic cuts and will ensure a sustained growth rate in the city.